Bree Grant, this is not your fault. Bad Apples stars Bree Grant and is directed by Brian Coyne. What's up guys, it's time to review another independent horror film. This one being from Uncork'd Entertainment. They also put out The Ice Cream Truck. I reviewed that one a while back. I'll put a card up here. I gave that one a glowing review. Loved the hell out of that movie. And recently I received a screener for Bad Apples. It comes out on VOD next month sometime, so you can check it out there if you want to. And the reason I'm reviewing this one, because I don't review all of them, is because the trailer really just jumped right out at me. First off, I'm a big fan of Bree Grant. Loved her work in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, on Heroes. She's a really good actress. From the trailer, you can tell she's the main character in this. But also, I love movies that are set on Halloween and killers that are in masks. This really reminded me a lot of movies like The Strangers mixed with Halloween, you know? And I ate the trailer right up. So I threw this in, I watched it, and now I'm gonna give my thoughts. And they're not that great. Now, first off, let's talk about the pros of this movie. I'm not here to completely rip this movie to shreds. The one reason is because this had so much potential. There are some interesting elements to this movie. First off, the atmosphere, that was the first thing that really pulled me in from the trailer. The atmosphere looks great. It looks like a lot of it takes place at night. And most of the scenes in this movie are just bathed in atmosphere. And it looks beautiful. It's great for a horror setting. And second thing is this is set on Halloween. And I love movies that are set on Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. My favorite movie of all time is Halloween. So, you know, I couldn't resist. But the real big pro for this to me is Bree Grant. She is great throughout this whole movie. She does a fantastic job of carrying this film. And the story in this is that she is new to town, she's a teacher, and her husband, they are right in the middle of unpacking, you know, their house and getting their lives back together. But then there are these two children, they are going around on Halloween night, and if the houses are not lit up, that are accepting trick-or-treaters, then they go in and they kill them. And that to me makes a really interesting premise. I said that in the beginning. Love the premise of this movie. And I gotta say, this movie does open up with a bang. That opening scene really sets the tone. It gives you an idea of who these characters are that are going around just killing people. A little bit of why, you know, right from the very beginning of their lives, it's just been complete chaos. And the opening scene is pretty damn shocking. And I don't want to give it away, but it involves a pregnant woman. And she's pregnant with these girls. And something happens that is just completely tragic and completely shocking. And it's very effective how that scene played out, actually. It made me jump. All right, now let's get into the cons, because there are a lot of them with this movie. The first problem really is the acting. And I can't fault, you know, smaller studios that much, because let's face it, you're not gonna get Tom Cruise in these types of movies. You're not gonna get Daniel Day-Lewis. And this is a horror movie, so I'm gonna cut them some slack there. Some of the acting is pretty bad, but more so, some of the script, the dialogue in this movie, it's not that effective. Could be stronger dialogue. Some of it seems needless, and it kind of stretches the scenes out when it doesn't really need to be. And some would say that Ice Cream Truck does this too, but I think it works in that movie because it lends itself to the awkwardness of the characters, whereas these characters are pretty straightforward. And you can tell that this movie was made for very little money. But, you know, there are a lot of movies that were made for very little money that ended up being great. Clerks is a great example. Blair Witch Project is a great example. So really that's no excuse for, you know, an independent horror film. Also, what the hell was up with the sound design in this movie? It is all over the place. Sometimes I had to turn the volume up, sometimes I had to turn it down. It just wasn't like even throughout the movie. And a lot of times the sound design was so bad that it got in the way of the actual scenes that were playing out. You know, I was invested, and then all of a sudden a weird noise would happen that didn't really belong in the scene, and it would just completely take me out of it. Especially involving the killers, the two girls. Aesthetically, they looked so interesting. As soon as I was sucked into them visually, the sound design would completely take me right back out. That's how bad it was. Also, the action scenes in this movie, like if, say, a character punches or stabs another character, way off. And I've seen movies like this in the past where you see a punch and the punch lands that far from the face. Kind of the same thing with this. And I think there are ways around that, I really do. I don't think budget constraints should prevent that. And there are some really stupid character decisions in this, especially in the last act of the movie. You got this final showdown, which I will say, as soon as that showdown was about to begin, you had Bree Grant facing off against these two girls. The music was excellent, by the way. Enjoyed the score throughout this whole thing, and the music, especially in that scene. As soon as this scene started unfolding, I was like, yes, here we go. Let's have a phenomenal final act that will save this movie. No, the final act's not horrible, but you know, when you have the husband that receives a phone call from his wife that she's in distress, he knows that he needs to get to her, and then what does he do? He stops and he talks to one of the nurses or whoever, and they have this like long drawn out conversation. What the hell? Get to your wife. That drove me crazy. Guys, in the end, I'm definitely gonna have to give this movie a 2 hours loss, and it's a damn shame. The premise and the killers and the settings and all this stuff had so much potential that I really want them to go back and remake this movie. Like, I wanted this movie to be good so bad. The trailer really had me so excited, and it's a shame that the end result turned out to be, I guess, a bad apple. But anyway, guys, this movie does come to VOD. If you want to go check it out, like I said, there are some really interesting elements to it. You know, you might like it, but I unfortunately didn't. Also, come over to Kill Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day, and on Fridays we do Free For All Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and now Stardust, where you can do your 30-second reviews to the movies you watch. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.